Hello, welcome back to another episode of Math with Haas. So this is Precalculus Season 1, Video 1, but then there's an additional point 1 here. You see, I thought it would be good if we have another example for our first video on exponentials and logarithms, because this type of math problem is a little trickier than what was covered in the original video. So, example here. A house was valued in 1991 at $225,000. The value appreciated to $305,000 in 2002. What is the house's value in 2004? Alright, so let's go ahead and start marking up this problem here. Get rid of that. So, in 1991, we are given this value here. We want to think this as our starting value. So we're going to want to think of this as our A value. Okay. So if we recall our equation, y is equal to AB to the t. We also had this other variation, a times quantity of 1 plus r to the t. As I've mentioned before, it does not matter which of the two forms we use. However, I am going to use this form right here with the b to the t. So we have our a value identified, it says 225,000. Now what I want to do is look at the next line. So we have this term here, meaning appreciated. This tells us that r is going to be positive, okay, and it just tells us that the interest rate is actually increasing. If it said depreciating, like if you have a car or some furniture or something, its value decreases usually over time because of wear and tear, whatnot, and so it loses value. But with the house here, it's appreciating, it's gaining equity, it's becoming more valuable. So that's something to note, is that our answer for r, if we were to use this formula, it should be positive. Or yeah. So if we want to think in terms of b should be greater than 1, because if it was equal to 1, then r would have to be 0 here. But since r is positive, that tells us that b would have to be greater than 1, since recall b is equal to 1 plus r. So that's where this is coming from. Now, we have this information right here, which I just obscured with our nice green line. So this here is a y value, so I'm going to just call it y1. So y1 is going to equal 305, and this is at a particular time value. Now, we don't want to use 2002 because our start value was at 1991, but we don't want to use 1991. We want to think of this as when t is equal to 0, which means 2002 is 11 years after 1991. So the 2002 is really when t is equal to 11. So we could think of this information as a coordinate pair. Like, think of like a point on a line or something, x comma y. This would be t comma y. So we have this information here, and we want to know what is the house's value in 2004. So we want to know, what does y equal when t is equal to 13. Alright, so we've broken this down a little bit, but it remains to be seen what can we actually do. So for our formula, we know that we have y is equal to 225,000 b to the t. We know when we do our final work to get y, we have t equal to 13, but we don't know what b is. So we have two unknowns, which means we need to get some further information. And we can do that using this information in green. We have a y value, we have a t value. We know what a is, so we can set this up. 305,000 has to equal our 225,000 b to the 11. So our next step is we need to isolate the b. So 305,000 over 225,000. We are going to kill off these o's here, make our lives a little easier. And this is equal to b to the 11. So to get the b by itself, we will want to take the 11th root. So the 11th root of this fraction here is equal to b. Alright. Whatever that number is, I'm going to just save it into my calculator here. So now keep in mind, when you have a fraction, the nth root of x is the same thing as x to the 1 over nth power. So that's what I'm doing with my calculator here. I have a 11th root. I'm just going to use a 1 over 11 power. There is our value. Notice b is greater than 1 as I predicted. And then we're going to store this in, how about memory slot A. So that is now stored in memory slot A. So now that we have our b value, we know what t is. We can start plugging values in. So y will equal 225,000 times our b to 13. So we can just plug this straight into the calculator now, times our b value to the 13th. And there is our answer. So y here would be at 359,832 and 59 cents approximately. So that will be the value of the house in, what was it, 2004? Yep, 2004. Alright, there's our answer. Alright, thank you for watching this video of Math with Haas. If you've been enjoying our content, please subscribe and check out our Patreon page. I will see you next time. Thank you for joining the math party.